Good morning, Dr. Hartnett-McCann.
Good morning.
First of all, can you tell us who are you employed by?
The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, the State of Connecticut.
How long have you been employed by the Chief State Medical Examiner's Office?
Since January of 2015, so about 10 years.
And can you tell us a little bit about your background, your training, and your experience, please?
Of course. I earned my bachelor's degree from Cornell University in anthropology and archaeology in 1999, and then earned my master's degree in bioarchaeology from Arizona State University in 2003, and my PhD in biological anthropology from Arizona State University in 2007.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, do you hold any special board certifications?
Yes, I am board certified by the American Board of Forensic Anthropology.
And can you tell us, you just used the term forensic anthropology. Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what forensic anthropology is?
A forensic anthropologist analyzes the human skeleton to help determine a person's identity through their biological profile, which is their age, sex, ancestry or population affinity, and stature, as well as analyze the human skeleton for any signs of trauma.
So now, in your capacity as an associate with the Office of the Chief State Medical Examiner, are you consulted by other medical examiners' office with regard to things within your area of specialty?
Yes.
And can you tell me, with regard to a laboratory case number 19-21392, an autopsy of Christine Holloway, did you become part of that investigation by the State Medical Examiner's Office?
Yes.
Showing you what has been marked stage 194, Your Honor, is a report from Dr. Hartnett-McCann. It is 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a total of 5 pages. This report is already in evidence as part of Dr. Hayes' report. However, that was in black and white, and this is a color version of the same report that is a part of the previous exhibit.
And I have no objection to its introduction, Your Honor.
Thank you. Court will accept the report into evidence as well as the number?
194, Your Honor.
194, thank you.
And Attorney Gavin, is all right if the witness has a copy of her report?
Of course.
Fair first witness, Your Honor.
You may, thank you.
Thank you.
Is the monitor on in front of you, Doctor?
It's on.
Showing you up on the monitor as well as the screen. You generally recognize what this is.
Yes.
And what do you recognize it to be?
This is the portion of the skull that was submitted to me after Dr. Hayes completed his autopsy. And
I guess my first question preliminarily is, do you recognize Stage 194 as being the report that you produced?
yes, this is my report.
And on the last page of this report, do you see your signature on the bottom of this page?
Yes.
So you started to tell us there is a photograph identified as figure 1 in this report. Can you explain to us, first of all, what we are seeing here in figure 1?
Yes, this is the portion of the skull that was submitted to me after Dr. Hayes completed his autopsy. This photo also reflects my reconstruction after I had cleaned the bone from the soft tissue. So this image shows the top view of the reconstructed portion of the cranium, as well as the additional cleaned fragments that weren't reconstructed to the main piece.
Okay, so you just gave us a lot of detail. Can you sort of break it down, first of all, into steps that you perform? So is it fair to say, where I place my highlighter, is that the reconstructed skull that you created?
Yes.
Did it come to you in a series of other pieces?
Yes, it did.
When you received it, the pieces, where my highlighter is, which is the left side of the picture in figure 1, can you tell us the process that you undertook to reconstruct it?
After I received the portion that was submitted to me, I would clean it first using water and a degreaser to help remove the soft tissue so I could adequately see the bone. Once the specimen is dried, I usually just leave it to air dry. Once it's dried, I use a cyanoacrylate, which is a super glue, to reconstruct the pieces of the skull, as you will see here.
Taking you to figure number 2, can you tell us what are we seeing here in figure 2?
This is the right side of the portion of the skull after it's been cleaned and reconstructed. In the top right of the photograph, you can see an arrow and a word, if you can't read that, that says anterior. That means where that highlighter is, yes, is towards the front of the head, the face end. And on the left side of the photo, that is the back of the head. And we are, again, looking at the right side of the head.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, this would be the part of the skull towards the face,
Correct.
and this would be the back side of the skull.
Correct.
So, and we are looking at the skull from the right side of the decedent's head.
Correct.
Now I see in this exhibit there are letters A, B, C, D, and E in this exhibit, figure number 2. Can you tell us what the significance of each of those letters are?
Each of those letters indicates a different impact to this side of the cranium. The letters, while they do go in order from A through E, do not imply the sequence of the impacts. It is just how I describe them in my notes and report. So there's no order of sequence.
And how exactly, can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury exactly how you go about determining effectively that each one of these, A through E here, is a separate and distinct impact?
I look for features on the bone that tell me these are separate impacts. Typically, I look for areas of impact that have what I call circular or concentric, which are rounded fracture margins. I look for areas of depressed bone, meaning the bone is pushed inwards. I also look for radiating fractures or fractures that emanate out from a particular point.
So at least, so for now in figure 2, have you identified areas A, B, C, D, and E, in your opinion, are each separate and distinct impact marks?
Yes, each of those that are labeled with a letter are separate impacts.
Going to figure 3, can you tell us what are we seeing here in your report?
This is the back of the head. This is what I call the posterior of the skull. So we are looking directly at the back of a person's head.
And again, similar lettering E, F, and G. Now, we saw E on the previous exhibit. Is this a second E, or is this a continuation from a different angle of the same E?
The E is the same in both figures.
And again, in the back of the head, then impact points that are new are F and G?
Correct.
Next page of your report, figure 4. Can you tell us what we are looking at here?
Figure 4 is the left side of the head. So again, in the top left of the photo, there is an arrow pointing towards the anterior or front. That is the face area. And on the right side of the photo, that is the posterior or back. So we are looking at the left side of the head.
And again, there are additional lettering in this particular figure of G and H. Again, do you have an opinion with regard to those as being points of impact?
Yes, G and H are each separate points of impact.
And you start to talk about the several sort of fractures, in terms of what you're looking for. Is G a good example of the type of visual fractures that you're seeing?
G is an example of a linear fracture, yes.
And again, H in terms of, is H depicting again another what seems to be a fracture line?
There is more than one fracture line depicted at H. You can see it kind of looks like an upside down Y-shaped at the top of the letter H. So that is what I would consider a focal point of impact, where there was an impact at the area where those fracture lines intersect and radiate out from that spot.
Showing you figure 5 on 4th page. Can you tell us what we are looking at here?
This is a closer view of impact A, which was on the front right side of the head, and it shows the what I would describe as ovoid or rounded shape, and the bone is depressed or pushed inward. There is also a little bit of hair embedded inside that fracture.
And again, there's a scale that appears to be on the bottom and on the right side of the photograph. Do you put that there to provide scale to somebody looking at this photograph?
Yes.
And is that round, depressed mark, which you have referred to, approximately 1 inch in diameter?
I actually use centimeters, and that scale is in centimeters, and it is about 1.5 centimeters by 1 centimeter.
So going back now to figure 1 on the first page, I believe your testimony was this is sort of the final reconstruction of the skull. Was my understanding correct?
Yes,
And that's on the left.
correct.
And that's what you, in your subsequent figures in your report, were referring to, where you were labeling all of the letters.
Yes.
Now on the right, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 what appeared to be pieces that are separate on the side of the photograph. What are those?
Those are fragments of the cranium that I could not reconstruct due to some areas of missing bone, especially on the right side and the back part of the cranium.
So after you constructed then the fractures that you were able to piece back together on the complete skull on the left, there were some pieces that you couldn't put back into the skull
Correct.
because you were missing bone, but to be able to show where they came from?
Correct.
So doctor, based upon your reconstruction of the skull of Christine Holloway with regard to case number 19-21392, do you have an opinion based upon a reasonable degree of medical or scientific certainty as to the minimum number of impacts that caused these fractures on the skull of Christine Holloway?
Yes, there's a minimum of 8 blunt impacts to the cranium.
And in terms of being at a minimum, is there the possibility that there were more?
Yes, there is the possibility that there were more, especially on the right side where I do have some areas of missing bone.
Is it due to the lack of bone that you cannot make a conclusive determination as to
It's possible that some pieces were not recovered or were not submitted to me, and also the autopsy cut separates out part of the bone that sometimes I can't reconstruct it fully. So there may be an absence of bone in that area where there is more than the impacts that I have described in the photos.
So you describe a minimum of 8 impacts.
Correct.
I have nothing further.
Thank you.
got it.
Hi, Doctor.
Good morning.
How are you? Just one question for you. Dr. Hartnett McCann, despite your reconstruction efforts of the skull, which was introduced as the exhibit, you can't tell us how Christine Holloway sustained those injuries. Is that correct?
I cannot.
Thank you. No other questions.
Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You may exit.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please watch your step across the floor.
Are you ready?